As you can see, the biggest source of revenue to the studios, nearly 2/3, is DVDs. That's why that window is so important to them. But DVD sales have declined by 27% in the last 2 years. If you're a movie executive, you can see why this graph reminds you of what happened to music and what happened to newspapers. DVDs is why the studios are afraid of being the next domino to fall. So why has DVD revenue fallen? The first answer everyone gives is piracy. Thanks to digital technology, it is now possible to go online on any computer in the world and get an illegal copy of virtually any movie for free, or to buy a high-quality DVD of almost any new movie on the street for a couple of dollars. South Korea, in 2006, the studios had a $1.3 billion market in that country. In 2007, the bit rate of its broadband was increased. By 2009, DVD sales in South Korea had fallen to 80 million. Here in Spain, as you know, consumer spending on DVDs and home video fell from over 260 million in 2004 to 191 million in 2009. The number of DVDs sold or rented fell by 30%. At the same time, it's been estimated that illegal movie downloads went from 132 million a year in 2006 to 350 million in 2008, and I read in the newspaper on Monday, to 1 billion in 2009. So that's one reason why the studios are moving toward simultaneous worldwide theatrical release. The movie comes now in theaters all around the world at the same time. They're giving up the territory windows because global piracy defeats them. So why is illegal file sharing so widespread? Is it because digital technology put a dangerous tool in people's hands? Did digital technology turn honest people into lawbreakers? Or is it because people simply find it more convenient? They want movies when they want and where they want, and they tell themselves that the studios won't feel it if they get it using BitTorrent. Or are they getting even for being frustrated by the studios? They want a fast, easy, fairly priced online option now, and instead they're angry at being victims of the studio's dependence on DVDs. I believe illegal file sharing is a symptom. The cause is the industry's failure so far to adequately transform its Windows business model. You might think that the studios would want to depend less on DVDs and more on other income streams, but they are trapped in that dependence by decisions they themselves made. Until the late 90s, Hollywood propped up video rentals by pricing video sales at $55 to $60. But then the studios calculated that they'd make more money if they lowered the retail price of DVD sales. So they pressured the big stores to set DVD prices below $16, and they set out to convince the public to collect a DVD library. That strategy worked for a while. It led to the DVD high-water mark of $21 billion in 2005. But then it stopped working. People realized that they only watched a DVD once. Sales volume fell, but the studios couldn't raise the price again. Worse, pricing DVDs so low meant that newcomers like Netflix and Redbox could buy DVDs from stores and then turn around and rent them to consumers, a transaction that made money for Netflix and Redbox, but nothing for the studios. To fight them, the studios this year went to court to force Netflix and Redbox to give studios a 28-day window before they start renting out new movies. To further boost DVD sales, Disney, starting with Alice in Wonderland, shortened the theatrical window to 3 months and moved up the DVD release and video on demand. But theater owners complained, and other studios may not follow Disney's lead. Just 2 weeks ago, regulators gave the movie industry a waiver to take what they're calling selectable output control of consumers' cable and satellite boxes, to show a movie on home TV soon after or even at the same time as its release in theaters at a big premium. But the biggest change to Windows is this: pressure from the digital audience is forcing the studios to crack open 2 new internet windows for online downloads and for streaming video on demand. The digital audience wants easy online access to new movies without having to wait for weeks or months after the DVD comes out, and they want it at a fair price. When should those internet windows open, and how much should they cost? The studios are experimenting with the answer. Hollywood is struggling to give the digital audience the convenience it demands without at the same time cannibalizing its DVD revenue. The problem is that maximizing its DVD revenue depends on inconveniencing the digital audience. The whole idea of the Windows system is to frustrate the audience enough so that they will break down and choose an earlier window with a higher profit margin for the studios. But the studios don't know if opening up these new options will risk driving digital audiences into the arms of the pirates. One writer called this maybe the mother of all windows, that the online pay-per-view will eat all the other windows. That'll be the only way that people will consume and bring the whole Windows model crashing down. Now let's turn to television. This is the business model of broadcast television. The 5 broadcast networks market and distribute programming. Much of it they create and own themselves. Some of it they get from the studios. Broadcast television brands itself as free TV because there's no subscription charge, just advertising. They air their content on a time grid, carefully plotting programming and counter-programming strategies for each night of the week, aiming to capture audiences at the beginning of prime time and hold them on that channel until they go to bed. Broadcast TV's big problem is that its advertising revenue is falling. Why is their advertising revenue falling? Well, look at what happened to the viewership of television. The decline began when cable TV came along, with hundreds of channels to compete with networks. Today, big audiences only show up for special events like the Oscars or the Super Bowl or the last episode of a hit series like Lost, where a 30-second ad costs $900,000. But a 30-second ad on a show with average ratings like The Simpsons only brings the network $200,000. American TV actually has 2 business models because there are 2 TV industries: broadcast and cable and satellite. Both of them depend on advertising, but cable and satellite depend on subscription as well. Here in Europe, of course, satellite is the big player, but in the US, though 32 million people subscribe to satellite, 80% of the country is wired for cable. To complicate things, there are actually 2 cable businesses. One are the companies that put the cables, the pipes, into people's homes. The top 10 companies serve 2/3 of the subscribers in the US. They provide the pipes, not the content. The other cable business is the cable channels, the 1,000+ cable networks that provide the programming that flows through the pipes. The cable operators license this content from the studios and other suppliers. 26 of the top 30 cable channels are owned by the same big media companies that own the movie studios and the broadcast TV networks. 15 to 20 of those channels are packaged in a bundle called basic cable, which you get for paying a monthly subscription. Most people get expanded basic cable, which gets you 30 to 90 channels. Virtually all these stations carry advertising, so you pay for cable twice, once with your subscription and a second time with your time and attention. Cable is expensive. Its cost has been going up at 3 times the rate of inflation. And if you want more channels, premium channels, you have to pay more for them, which can easily double the price. A lot of consumers are angry with the cable operators because they're forced to pay for cable channels they don't watch. Instead, they want what's called a la carte pricing. But the cable operators refuse, saying that it's the bundling that helps the channels with fewer viewers to survive. The biggest threat to advertiser-supported TV is the DVR. Today, 1 in 4 U.S. households has a DVR. It's expected to be 42% in 2 years. Many people hate ads, so they fast forward through them. The DVR gives the digital audience the autonomy they insist on. I control my attention, not you. You can't sell my attention to advertisers. DVR time shifting also kills the network's programmer's strategy of appointment TV. I watch when I want, not when you want. My time, not prime time. So the scheduling grid has lost its authority. The unit of television has become the program, not the network. So the television industry, losing money, is doing everything it can think of to deal with it. Here are a few ways. The Nielsen, the ratings company, is now not only measuring how many people are watching a show live, they're also adding to it how many people watch it on their DVR in the next 7 days. And soon they're going to measure TV content consumed on the internet as well. Product placement and brand integration. As Marichet's paper for the Lear Center, The Future of Television, shows, brands and products are now woven into the storylines and dialogues of show. One advertising executive said he thinks that when people skip ads, there will be a way to sponsor the fast forward. This fast forward is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Unscripted programming. To save money, the networks have dropped half of the comedy and drama series they used to program and replaced them with so-called reality shows and contests. One episode of a drama like Law and Order can cost $3 million. One episode of America's Top Model costs $100,000. They're using social media. The networks know that fans of Glee can turn to YouTube and Facebook for exclusive trailers and teasers of upcoming episodes. And they turn the show into a shared viewing experience through glitter. On the nights it's on, the show dominates Twitter's trending topics. Fox has even teamed up with MySpace to hold an online casting call for Glee's second season. Retransmission fees. It used to be that the networks paid the cable operators to carry their programming, but now the networks charge the cable operators for their programming. So now networks like Fox and ABC want to replace their lost revenue by asking the cable operators to pay them more. A few months ago, Fox